Okay, so we have an impromptu recording session started. I'm not even gonna. Oh, for heaven's sake! This is the one. Yeah, we should come up with a common rule saying the camera must never ever be relocated. So
it falls off of the monitor all the time.
Yeah, it falls off the monitor all the time and we make a mess in the core.
It's not meant to stay
And the
there.
wire management in this place is a mess already. So as we were saying, so Mark Webber is going to go out of his racing career in absolute style because he's just won the championship title for Porsche at the 6 hours of Shanghai. Now there is some interesting news in the Le Mans. In the Grand Tour Pro class, that class has been won by none other than Andrew Pralou and Harry Tinknell of Ford GT.
Ooh, the Ford GT, such a
That's
beautiful
right.
supercar.
Exactly. And there are two of them racing in Le Mans, and racing in the World Endurance Championship, and they took first and second positions in their class.
They are beautiful.
Absolutely,
Beautiful
that is
cars.
indeed. So, hurrah for Andy Proyle, Harry Tinknell, Stefan Mucko, and Olivier Pla for making America proud. Now, something I should emphasize while we're talking about this is America's just simply not on the in with this. It just isn't.
Not one
Formula
bit.
1 and World Endurance Championship, well, strictly speaking, we are, because the Corvettes always kick ass at Le Mans.
Because, honestly, though, it's a Corvette. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. But the point is, most Americans probably don't know that there was
No?
an American team kicking ass in the World Series.
But I also think that America doesn't know how good their own cars are. I mean, we have one of the best engines in the entire world, the Chevy LS engine.
Well, let me tell you this. As proof that we are truly on the outs, Lego, for some reason we're still getting Lego catalogs at my house in the mail.
Lego's
They
awesome.
have their own, for the new Speedmaster set is a Porsche set.
Oh, of course.
So therefore so this is a beautiful Lego set, I will
yeah,
say.
I'm looking at it right now. If you guys could look this up, it's pretty cool looking.
You have a pit wall, you have all kinds of maintenance equipment, and then you have a really, really similar, a really close replica of the Porsche 919 that is racing and kicking ass in Le Mans right now. And you also have an old classic Porsche, what is that? A 917K. So that is like probably what Steve McQueen was driving in the Le Mans movie. I mean, it is very, very close. I mean, you see what I mean?
Yeah, it's good looking.
Yeah, no, and it's an amazing Lego set. So if you're fulfill the inner child in you and buy the Lego set. Anyways, now moving right along to other news. Now as we know, people are trying to flee the country because the Canadian immigration website crashed. Apparently,
That's funny.
There were
I love that on Reddit.
There were so many Americans who were desperate to flee the country that they crashed the Canadian immigration website. It's been down for hours, and the government is not commenting as to whether it's because they shut it down completely or if it was an overload. But there is some good news. Now, if you don't go to Canada, you can actually take part in a very affordable and fun racing series.
It's a cute little car.
Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you the Nissan Micra Cup. I've actually seen these racing in action. When I was at the Canadian Grand Prix, this was a support series. Now you must understand that these are tiny. These are little Nissan
Subcompact
Micras.
hatchbacks.
Now you can buy a regular one for $7,000 Canadian, for like $8,000 Canadian dollars up there, which is an equivalent to maybe 7,000 US. However, if you were to for 20,000 US, you can get one that is already pre-race prepped. It will have a roll cage. It will have a racing harness. It will not have a radio. It will still have its roll-down windows. It will have roll cage and everything. And you are basically a Nissan Micra racer. You buy it, you can start racing. And now, again, I've seen these things in action. Now, that's a small little unpowered engine. It's really hard to get these things to go fast. But so once you are up there, you really, really just want to keep the speed up. It's not easy, but like I said, it is a fantastic series. I think it's absolutely hilarious. That front-wheel drive. I mean, like, you could probably get into something like this, couldn't you?
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to. And the funny thing is, I've raced similar cars in my games, such as Gran Turismo, too, also. And they definitely don't have power, but they can make their way around a corner.
Well, this one here has the GT Academy sticker on it, which is their TV, which was them Gran Turismo's TV show.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, like I said, I've seen these things race at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and they're just hilarious. Like, I didn't actually see it, but I was behind a pair of bleachers and couldn't see anything on the track. But we could hear these Nissans going around the corner because it was at the hairpin turn. There's a long run up, then it's a brake, hard hairpin right, and then it's a straight exit. And we heard this horrible sound, this. Apparently, one of them actually rolled over.
Oh, jeez. It's such a small wheelbase, such a small, tall car. I mean,
In fact, the fact, when we actually raced these things, the winner came to our hairpin turn, and he did a reverse donut.
Oh, reverse donuts are the best.
Yeah, strictly speaking, again, these are rear wheel drive. So if you want to do a donut in these things, you've got to stick it into reverse. So that nose is going to spin around. I mean, oh God, it was absolutely hilarious. So we bring this up because there's an article about it on Jalopnik. And what the hell? Bring this up now. In addition, Lego has also brought out something else. I just saw this on the sidebar.
That looks cool.
They have a BMW R1200 GS made out of Lego Technic. So this is pretty close to the actual thing. Like so it's a Lego Technic set based on the bike that Ewan McGregor rode around the world on.
That's very cool.
Absolutely, indeed it is. All right, and now we are not quite ready to get back to Formula One yet because we have some interesting news. The Dakar Rally is going to be on in a few months. It will be over on the Christmas break, so we will have a race prep show for you, and we will have some post-race coverage. And it turns out that Mini, they're going to be in it again with 8 crews operating. 8.
Is that a lot or is that a little?
That is a lot. In Dakar, most of these are professional teams. They probably run like maybe 3 or 4 cars. Like Robbie Gorn.
Oh, so they're going to have 8 whole cars.
They're having 8 cars. So that's 8 drivers, 8 navigators, 8 support teams. And I mean, I don't know what kind of money the top tier teams work with, but I think they got like maybe 3 heavy duty.
You said duty.
Don't you dare don't do that to me, mate. So anyway, they have 3 articulated trucks, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But of course the European model, because those are actually more sensibly sized. But the point is, you've got, I think there's maybe like
correctly
4.
Sized.
I think there's like maybe 4 of these trucks per car if you're in a top tier team at the Dakar. But if you're an amateur, well, God help you, because you're not going to have any of that.
Nope.
So like I said, Mini is going to be operating an unprecedented 8 crews in this year's Dakar Rally. They're going to have a lot of drivers, including the ex-WRC legend Mikko Hirvonen and off-road star Bryce Menzies. So it's going to be a really, really exciting. The winner will most likely be a Mini, unless... Oh, no, I was going to make a joke about Nasser Al-Attiyah, but no, Nasser Al-Attiyah has joined the dark side and has driven a Mini. But maybe the Frenchman Stefan Panahantel will be able to put Peugeot back on top. We will have more updates for you on that point.
So what does this rally look like? Like, what kind of thing are they racing
Deserts.
on? It's all, so they're going to put a Mini in the desert?
Well, not...
Are you telling me they're going to put a Mini in the desert?
Not really. It's actually kind of like a bulldogish off-roader, but it's built to look like a Mini Countryman.
Of course. The Countryman, great model.
Yeah, well, because I mean, like I said, it's an off-road desert race. So these vehicles are quite something. Like
I mean, if they brought Subarus to the desert, which they have, correct?
Well, they used to. No,
I don't know if they still do.
They used to. Well, they used to race regular cars there, but no, but they have shifted towards the off-road. Like if you go look at a Dakar in the '80s, like you've got like sports cars and sedans going through there. But then when you look at the '90s, they've shifted over to SUVs,
full-blown actual desert vehicles.
Yeah, and now in this century, you have the purpose-built carbon fiber behemoths. They're really fantastic looking vehicles, but they look like hell to ride in because you're bouncing all over the place. We will have more coverage on Dakar when it comes time and Formula One ends.
Sounds great.
Now it's time for some actual Formula One news. Now, this is something interesting for the consumer people. Now, Jaguar Land Rover have announced that they are ditching plans to purchase the Silverstone Raceway. That is an interesting bit of news. I mean, I had no idea Silverstone was up for sale. Now, Silverstone is where they host the British Grand Prix. I believe this is where the world's first Formula One race was ever held, back when it was still a converted airfield for an English bomber squadron.
So I can understand why they would, be interested in buying just a piece of British history.
Indeed, but strictly speaking, Jaguar Land Rover is owned by an Indian conglomerate.
Is it really?
Oh yeah, all the old British brands are Indian owned now.
Didn't realize that.
Yeah, I forget what their name, but yeah,
so kind of how Volvo's out of China.
Kind of. So the colonially oppressed have come back to take the colonials. So Silverstone, the most recognizable racing circuit in the United Kingdom, the site of the very first Formula One race in 1950, needs cash. That makes sense. Sadly, they won't be getting it through a deal with Jaguar Land Rover anymore. So Jaguar Land Rover has ended discussion with British Racing Drivers Club for the foreseeable future and is not proceeding with any plans to purchase the place. That is. Yeah, maintaining a racetrack at Formula One spec is bloody expensive. We're not going to lie, it is. Anyway, so now it's time for Formula One news proper. Now, we have some word from Renault. Apparently, Jolyon Palmer is indeed going to maintain his position as the number 2 at Renault for 2017. The team have confirmed that the 25-year-old Brit, who made his F1 debut in Australia earlier this year, will partner with Nico Hulkenberg, who's
Oh,
moved
wow.
to Enstone. Don't get confused with him and Nico Rosberg.
No, I know the difference.
Good.
Actually, I know the difference between Hulkenberg and Rosberg. But
Good.
still, that's pretty significant, though.
Absolutely. In fact, apparently Force India is not paid Hulkenberg in some time, so adios.
Well, I can't blame them with Mr. What's his name?
Vijay Mallya. Vijay Mallya is his name. He is the party king of India, and it was announced earlier this year that he went on the lam because he owes something ludicrous like a couple million back taxes to the Indian government.
Oh,
So he
boy.
is trying to dodge all the extradition countries he can.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Formula One, ladies and gentlemen, you don't get that kind of craziness in NASCAR, I'll tell you.
Nope.
Now, Renault Racing...
Too simple. Too many left turns.
Indeed. Now, Renault Sport Racing chairman Jerome Stoll said Palmer's improving from Britain scored his first Grand Prix points in Malaysia has been a factor in the decision to keep him for another season. So, keep at it, Jolyon. You're gonna do well. Now this is actually kind of big. Williams, the oldest name in British household racing. Sorry, it is the oldest household name in British racing, and in fact, its founder is still alive, barely. So Frank Williams is wheelchair bound. He has to wear the leather gloves for some reason, and his daughter Claire Williams is now the team principal. Turns out they have decided to sign on rookie driver Lance Stroll, a teenager. So here we go. So the pros, according to F1.com, make no mistake, Stroll is an extremely talented driver. No one wins 3 championships in 3 years in 3 different categories by accident, but perhaps what impressed Williams most was the way in which he won his latest title, the competitive FIA European Formula 3 Championship, the series from which Max Verstappen graduated straight to F1 from 30 races. From 30 races, Stroll took 14 wins, 10 more than the next best driver, 14 poles, 11 fast laps, and 20 podiums to secure the coveted crown by a record margin.
That's ridiculously huge of a gap.
And yeah, it is huge. Now, a Formula 3, the cars are tiny, and if you go onto the Formula 3 website, you will see that the entire grid, they're all kids.
Oh, yeah.
They are all kids.
Gotta start 'em early.
Indeed, and yeah, so if you can get into Formula 3, like that is the first hurdle to getting up to Formula 1 or professional racing in general. Now, some potential cons are his age. Let's see, well, how old is he? Stroll F1 behind Max Verstappen. It's not actually giving me his age, but the guy is apparently young, because here's the thing, when Max Verstappen got his seat at Toro Rosso at the age of 17, the FIA said, okay, we'll accept it, but if you want any more teenagers, they have to be 18. Because apparently they were not getting happy with that many so young teenagers in these events. Now, relative inexperience. Now, he may have shared... here's something interesting. He shared a prototype sports car in the Daytona 24 Hours, finishing an impressive 5th. So, again, this guy, he's pretty good, so we will see
Seems
what happens.
like it.
Yeah, because Felipe Massa, whose seat he's taking over, has decided to retire.
Oh,
Yeah, indeed. So he's going to be racing alongside veteran driver Valtteri Bottas, so...
that'll be interesting.
I think it's going to be mind games. If something we notice here is that that when you have such a stark divide between the two drivers, the mind games pick up. In fact, Fernando Alonso, when he was driving for McLaren, and that was the first year Lewis Hamilton came aboard, and that was like his first year, and he was still fairly young before he became an absolute douche that he is. Alonso pitted. They let the car down. It was time to go, but he just sat there for 5 seconds, and then Lewis Hamilton came behind him. And Fernando just sat for a bit, and then he said, "Okay, I think I toyed with this kid enough. It's time to race again." So yeah, so expect craziness in Williams next year.
Expect it.
Indeed. Okay, so now let us get right into the brass tacks. This weekend is Rio, but first of all, let us get clear here. Now, the constructors' standings for 2016, Mercedes has it wrapped up, 679-point lead. Red Bull follows behind with 427 points. And then Ferrari's 365. I think Ferrari might be able to pull through the second place if they are very, very dedicated and very, very lucky.
But as far as first goes, Mercedes, that's that, right?
Yes, absolutely. Now, however, for the drivers, this is a different story. Nico Rosberg currently leads with 349 points. Lewis Hamilton tails with 330, so that is a 19-point gap. Now, I have concluded that as long as Nico Rosberg can come in second here and the next race, he will clinch the World Championship title. I think he will be allowed. I believe he is allowed one more third place finish, and he can keep his title. But anything lower than that, and he could lose it. But of course, that is assuming Lewis Hamilton wins in all of those conditions. So if Hamilton breaks down, all bets are off. So now let us go to. Oh no! Yeah, one of the reasons I abandoned Sing is because for some reason the trackpad's a bit sticky. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we go to Rio. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we go to the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace in Sao Paulo, better known as Interlagos to all you race aficionados. She hosted her first Grand Prix in 1973, and this weekend it is going to be 71 laps over 15 beautiful twisting turns and elevation changes. Now, this track is a very short one, 44.3 kilometers, but so for a total race of 71 laps, that's going to equal 305 kilometers. Now, the lap record is currently held by Juan Pablo Montoya. We like Juan Pablo. He is awesome. And he holds a time of 1:11.473. And who knows, we may actually see that go away if Lewis Hamilton's activities are anything to go by.
Oh, yeah, based on any recent activity, of course.
Indeed. So, now here's what I will tell you about this magnificent circuit. A lot of history is here. This is sacred ground, so tread lightly if you're there. In fact, now let me tell you this, where am I? So, just as a reminder, this weekend at 11 on Saturday, I will be delivering your qualifying coverage.
Fortunately, only Peter.
I don't know, I may get a substitute. I have yet to hear back from him.
That'll be cool.
And then, of course, on Sunday, race day, starting at 10:30, Alex and I will be here in the studio delivering you race coverage. And that will most likely be our final live coverage of the season, because we're still not sure if we can be bothered to be here at 9 o'clock for Abu Dhabi.
We'll see. We will see.
Indeed. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us go for our little brief history of Sao Paulo. Once she loads.
Formula One returns to the city of Sao Paulo and the undulating Interlagos circuit for the Brazilian Grand Prix. The race has also been held at Jacarepaguá in Rio de Janeiro, but Interlagos, which literally means between the lakes, has been the permanent home of Formula One in Brazil since 1990. The first 3 Grand Prix here were won by Brazilians, Emerson Fittipaldi twice and Jose Carlos Pace, whom the circuit is now named after following his death in 1977. The supporters are legendary, always creating a claustrophobic and intoxicating atmosphere, and have watched a Brazilian win their home race 9 times, though none have been more enthusiastically supported than Sao Paulo's favourite son, the late great Ayrton Senna. Senna's first win at Interlagos in 1991 was the most emotional. Leading for much of the race, heartbreak was on the cards as his McLaren lost half its gears with 2 laps to go. Wild with emotion and waving at officials to stop the race as rain began to fall, Senna somehow wrestled his car to the finish.
He's happy, ladies and gentlemen, as you can hear.
Leaving him so physically and emotionally exhausted, he was barely able to lift the trophy on the podium. Rubens Barrichello could not match Senna's success, retiring from 11 out of 19 races at his home venue. But another Paulista, Felipe Massa, finally filled the void by winning in 2006. But Brazilian hearts were broken in 2008, as for half a minute it looked as if Massa had become world champion, only for Lewis Hamilton to pass Timo Glock at the end of the final lap to win it by just a single point.
Whoa.
Hamilton
they punched the wall. They were so angry about that.
And of the current field, only Massa, Sebastian Vettel and Nico Rosberg have won more than once, with Kimi Räikkönen and Jenson Button also putting their name on the winners' list. Räikkönen and Button both claimed their world championships here. As did Fernando Alonso in 2005 and 2006. and Sebastian Vettel memorably recovered from a first-lap spin in 2012 to deny Alonso the title again.
I actually remember watching that one.
Full of chaos, crashes and changeable weather, the crazy roller coaster of Interlagos always creates the unexpected, helping to make the Brazilian Grand Prix one of the most popular races in Formula One.
Now, let me tell you, this place is extremely changeable. See, because I would imagine that a lot of places in South America just have precarious weather conditions.
Absolutely, I know they do.
Yeah, exactly. And here, if it rains, it is amazing. Like, the laps just get so unpredictable because the turns are so tight. Now, let me see. Is there anything worthwhile here? Vettel recovers from the first lap spin. Anything? No, we don't have to look at anything too in-depth.
It was pretty impressive how that native Brazilian guy finished on half of his gears.
Oh, no, that moment was absolutely legend. Like, that was Ayrton Senna. He'd won multiple races. He was Brazil's chosen son, and everybody said, even though, like, people were saying, yes, he is going to be the greatest driver of all time, but he never won his own Grand Prix, and that was his first time he did it. So, yeah, the car was stuck in fifth gear. That was the story I was told. It was stuck in fifth gear, and he was wrestling this thing, and it was so awful that when he pulled him out of the car, he was saying to everyone, please, don't touch me, don't touch me. Like, everybody is so passionate. They want to hug him, saying, you did it. He goes, please, don't touch me. Because if they did, he was suffering from such severe muscle spasms that any kind of physical contact just tortured the poor man. Oh. And then, of course, he endured the pain, lifted that trophy above his head, lifted the flag, and he was in absolute pain. And, oh, God, that was great.
He did it.
He did it.
He done did it.
In fact, when he was killed at Imola, and they brought his body home, it was like the biggest state funeral in history. Like 2 million people were in attendance in the streets. He was buried. It was a state funeral, so he had a military honor guard, and Alitalia, the airliner for Italy, they basically approached his wife and said, we offer to waive all regulations regarding the transportation of caskets, and we're going to take your husband home. And then she says, no, I want a Brazilian plane to take him home. And I believe the Brazilian Air Force dispatched a plane to take him back. He was such an influence down there. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to focus on now. So we are now going to turn over to our technical correspondent, the great David Coulthard. Take it away, David.
The penultimate race of the season sees Formula One head back to Brazil for round 20 of the World Championship. Located 16 kilometres south of Sao Paulo, Interlagos, which literally means between the lakes, runs anti-clockwise and is at high altitude, making it tough for both drivers and the engineers. 15 corners, elevation change and a great atmosphere all make this a very special Grand Prix. And while there's been no Brazilian world champion since Ayrton Senna, passion of local fans remains as strong as ever. The atmosphere on race day is fantastic, with supporters almost tribal in their appreciation of their heroes. Let's go for a lap with two-time winner Sebastian Vettel.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are now on board Sebastian Vettel. He is now at 325 kilometers per hour as he comes out at the final corner, and he goes across the line, and the lap begins. He's at 320, and he breaks all the way down to 120, but he still goes on a hard, tight right, and if that goes into tight right, and then it feeds instantly into a long but tight left. He gets back on the power. He's on the main straight. He's at 320 kilometers per hour, 330, and suddenly he breaks down hard down to 150 for a really short, tight left sweeper, and that feeds into another slight left. He's on the power again. 220 kilometers, 90 kilometers per hour, down to 200 for a double apex right, and then that's going to feed very soon into another right, and that's at 90 kilometers per hour, and then that's going to feed into a hard downhill left, and he's still in excess of 100 kilometers per hour, and then it's going to feed onto a right, and the track goes uphill, but it's going to and then this tight right turn was uphill all the way, and now suddenly he goes on a left, dives downward, and now he comes to the final corner. He's at 140, 130, hard left, and now he's going to get back on the power, and on full power, he takes the turn left, another left, and it just sweeps on a long, beautiful left. He's flying, he's free at 290 kilometers per hour. He's about to come to the final corner, and he's still on the full power, 320 kilometers per hour, and then he goes across the line.
Very intense. Very intense lap.
Indeed it is. So like I said, the track confines are tight. And the cars can be so unpredictable that sometimes you're going to have collisions.
I was going to say, I can't imagine, just that one car taking up the parts of the track. I can't imagine a whole bunch of cars trying to make it off that line,
There'll be
all
22 of
scrambling
them
for first.
There are going to be 22 of them, exactly.
Jeez.
And don't forget, it has a tendency to rain here, so therefore you can expect chaos. In fact, I forget which one it was. I think it was like 2008 maybe, where the cars were out and the rain came, but apparently all the cars were going out at the same corner. But it was fine. You know, they weren't off. They went into the dirt. It's fine. So drivers get out and they lift the cars up and put it on the other side. They were not actually prepared for. It was a freak thing because normally cars don't go out on that one particular corner. So therefore, you ended up having all of these expensive Formula One cars on this grassy knoll just getting lined up. In fact, and now interesting factoid about here in America, the commentator, one of our commentators, David Hobbs, a former driver, and he also owns his own network of Honda car dealers in Milwaukee, I believe. And so this was when still on Speed, and Bob Varsha, after they cut back from commercials, says, "Ladies and gentlemen," and then there's the shot of all these cars lined up on this grassy knoll. "Welcome to David Hobbs' used car lot." All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we will be broadcasting to you this weekend, 11 o'clock on Saturday for qualifying, and 10:30 for pre-race coverage on Sunday, and we will be here for you.
Oh, yes.
Okay, and that wraps it up for Formula One. We still have a while to go. Now, so we will... Now, I discovered this completely by accident. Kodak, you remember Kodak?
Oh, yeah, I remember Kodak.
Well, turns out they have decided to make a smartphone. The Kodak
Oh!
Extra.
Oh, it's so cool. Wait, is this the one I'm thinking of? Wait, no, that's not the one I was thinking of. It looks good.
Oh, yeah, I think it's... I mean, they really decided to go for a retro look, so it's...
I can't believe they're jumping back in the game.
What do you mean?
Kodak hasn't made stuff in a while.
Well, actually, if you go through the Kodak website, for hipsters, they do still manufacture Super 8 film cameras.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah, they still manufacture Super 8. They still have some film cameras for the hipsters, but apparently now they've decided to get into the smartphone market. So the new Kodak Extra smartphone, it's very thin, but it has a circular bezel at the end. So it's going to have its own shutter button. It's going to have a 21 megapixel sensor. Let me pull up the full specs for you.
So this is a phone, you're saying?
This is a phone, yes. So it's going to have a 21 megapixel main camera with Kodak's special non-reflective lens coating. It's going to have optical image stabilization with autofocus, a 13 megapixel front-facing camera, phase detection auto and HDR imaging, 4K video capturing, and it's going to have 3 gigs of RAM, 4 gigs video capture, and 32 gigs of memory with expandable card. Now, the interesting thing is, first of all, like I said, this phone is definitely supposed to be retro. Like, if you look at it from the front, it looks like an old camera. It's going to have its own dedicated shutter button, and it's going to have a hole for a lanyard. And you should see the leather cases that they are selling to go along with it.
That's pretty funny.
They have actual camera cases, you know, like...
I see real camera cases, but this is funny. I think it has a very good mix between a retro and a very modern look. You know, not rugged, but just, like, very...
It's leather. It's leather bound.
Exactly.
So it
looks
leather.
Happy, like a wallet. Like it's holding your possessions and beautiful things.
It's like an old camera from the 30s almost, but it's actually a smartphone.
It's a smartphone. Wow.
It's a smartphone, but it looks like a camera from the 30s. I think it's brilliant, personally. Now, I do wish that they had an optical zoom on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would be nice. But here's one thing. It's using the Helio X20, which is a MediaTek processor. That's usually used on lower-end Chinese phones. So they didn't spring for a higher-end, what's it called, Qualcomm chip like the 820.
Yeah, I see. Interesting. Well, like I said, well, for my purposes, I think it'll do me just fine. Like, if I don't know, if this thing comes out and turns out to be good, I might consider it, because I will say this, I am a photographer at heart, and one of the reasons why I switched to LG was because I thought I had the best camera controls.
And that is correct, it does. I'd say with the manual control at the time that it was released, absolutely.
Indeed, I know. Like I said, I think it's absolutely amazing. All right, so that's all I have. What else is there in the world?
Don't fall over now. Well, in the world, we have a few things. I could keep on raving about the Google Pixel if I wanted to, as I do every week. It's a pretty good-looking phone, but that being said, it can't fill in the shadow of the legend that was the Galaxy Note 7. That cannot be replaced until hopefully the Galaxy S8 comes out, which is hopefully going to have a close to bezel-less display.
I'm not sure about that. I think Samsung is in serious trouble.
How come?
Well, first of all, you got the exploding phones.
Yeah.
Apparently, they're also recalling their top-load washer machine. So
Yep.
I think that, and my mom read somewhere about the fridges getting recalled as well. Maybe she got confused, but
No, I think I heard about fridges too.
Oh, well, yeah, the company is in trouble. Quality control is not too good at the moment, because don't forget, first their phones exploded, now I think they're... Oh, you don't suppose that the washing machines and fridges are exploding as well?
The washing machine was exploding due to a certain frequency that it would hit while it was on the certain spin cycle that would drive the whole inside, just tear it all apart.
Wait, are you kidding me? It was destroying itself with a resonance cascade.
Yeah.
It was blowing itself up with a resonance oh my god.
Yeah, so here's the thing. It's funny. So they said anybody using these washers at the time, please use them on the eco setting, which spins them slower, which I think is pretty funny. But here's the thing, though, about Samsung.
How do you do that? Like, how...
Companies messed up. They just so happened to do a whole lot of it at once.
Yeah.
And they were also trying to cover up the washing machine thing, too. But it didn't happen. It didn't work. It's out. The secret's out. But in the case of the Note 7... I think it was something crazy. Over 70%, maybe closer to 80% of the people that traded back in their Note 7 ended up with another Samsung phone. Mm-hmm. So they really haven't lost much of customer base. And the funny thing is then there's also been other people saying, there are a couple iPhones that blew up. But, I mean, that happens every couple of years. Like, remember there have been iPhones that just kind of blow up sometimes?
Yeah.
But never in the mass quantities that the Note 7 did. And I
True.
think that could be part of Qualcomm's Quick Charge, which is not USB-C certified.
Well, I just remembered something, and maybe Samsung won't be in too much trouble as it is, because I just remembered they do make tanks.
Oh my god.
Samsung make tanks, people. I believe they supply them primarily to, Samsung's TechWinds flagship K9, which looks like a self-propelled artillery gun,
Wow.
is used by Poland, Turkey, and South Korea.
That is Samsung. What the heck?
Yep. The K9 Thunder, that's a big gun, I will say. And that is made by the people... Oh, you don't suppose the artillery shells they fire have little Samsung notes in them, no?
I'm sure. Well, it looks like it's they're not Samsung anymore. It was formerly Samsung. Right now it's Hanwha TechWin when it used to be Samsung TechWin. But still Samsung stuff.
Indeed it is.
Funny.
Yeah.
Oh, 21 horsepower per ton?
All right, so let me see what else there is in the world of, we really need to start doing some more pre-show prep in this, I will say.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, so we have,
Any British news you can think of? Or Irish news? Any Irish news can you
why
think of?
Irish?
I don't know. Just think about Irish things.
Why?
I don't know.
I don't know why either. Okay, so what else is there? Well, apparently, oh dear me, there was a little problem at the Corsa Cliente in Homestead Miami Speedway where two classic Ferraris crashed into each other.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah, indeed it is. And okay, here's something interesting. Now, apparently, the U.S. Navy have a stealth destroyer, the USS Zumwalt, DDG-1000. Well, apparently, it has guns on it that are so accurate that they can hit a target from 80 miles away with little collateral damage.
Jeez.
Only problem, it's $800,000 per round to fire these guns. So
That's a little bit more than my college education.
yeah. Okay.
Not by much, though.
Yeah. And okay, I guess this is kind of related to cars. Apparently Donald Trump is threatening to repeal a lot of fuel economy and emissions regulations.
Ooh, that would be nice, actually, wouldn't it?
I don't think it would. It, look at what's going on in
It's
Shanghai.
not good for our environment,
Well,
no.
China and India, it's getting bad over there.
It is getting very bad.
I mean-
However, we could get some faster cars.
Excuse me.
Or some Volkswagens.
Formula One engines are faster than a V8. I will say this right now.
That's true.
And those are very fuel efficient. It's something ridiculous, only 1.6 liters in there.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I'll say, so in Irish news, air ambulances, as they call them, could save up to 50 lives a year when it begins service. So apparently they don't have medevacs, I guess? I don't know.
They're the same thing. They're just a different
Yeah,
name.
but I don't think they have them yet. Air ambulances could save. So I think they're going to have them soon. Good for Ireland.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. News from Abu Dhabi. Apparently, the Hyperloop 1 is going to be deployed first in Abu Dhabi.
So what is the Hyperloop one?
It's that stupid idea of a high-speed public transit
Oh,
where
yeah.
you use the sucky pipe thingy at the bank. Exactly.
The bank.
And apparently you can exceed Mach 1 or something in here. And I think it's the stupidest idea out there because...
It's not. It doesn't sound like it would be viable. It sounds like it would cost a lot to maintain.
It costs a lot to maintain. Plus, this is Abu Dhabi. I mean, you're gonna have sandstorms. That is a real problem there. I mean, I don't
Well,
even.
is it underground or is it above ground?
I think it's gonna be above ground.
Regardless, there's gonna be sand getting in there.
Look,
Some sandy cheeks.
Hyperloop and everything about Elon Musk. As far as I'm concerned, the single most overrated individual in the world.
Well, I mean, he's also pretty cool.
No, I think
he's just keep that in mind.
No, he is
He's
not.
pretty cool.
He's a show off.
That's okay. So was Steve Jobs.
Yeah, but well, Steve Jobs actually created something and didn't blow up. They started blowing up after he died. Oh boy. So
In more Irish news,
why are we observing Irish news? I'm desperate to know.
why not? Okay. Do you not like Ireland or something like that?
It's no. I'm just curious as to why you're suddenly fixated on Irish news.
Some of my Irish friends walked by,
Oh really?
but they're gone now. They're not even in the duck anymore.
Oh.
Okay. So on this day in 1971, American golf star legend
David
David
Duval
Duval tees off.
Wait. Here's something more interesting. Ireland discovers opponents for the 2017 women's. Oh, never mind. I was gonna.
Women's Rugby Cup looks like fun. They don't look very happy.
Yeah. There. I'm not sure. I don't think Ireland does perform well too much. Well, at the
all
rugby
I know is
championships.
that in rugby in general, it seems to be more popular globally than it does here. Even though it's picking up some steam, like club teams in college, high schools. Like my high school's a
Well,
rugby team.
we do have a U.S. team that that participated in the last World Cup.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I also didn't hear about that.
Yeah.
Of course I didn't.
Yeah. Okay. Here's something interesting. Now, what do we know? Now we all know about James Bond, right?
Oh,
And we
yes.
all know who conjured him, a man named Ian Fleming. Well,
Of course.
Here was an operation that he pioneered. Now, first of all right. So this is an impromptu game of citation needed. Operation Mincemeat.
Okay.
What is it?
I don't know.
Okay, it was a diversionary tactic. The idea was that the British military would take an unclaimed body at the morgue. What was his name? Okay, first of all, they found a man named Glyndor Michael, and they dressed him up as a military officer. They gave him some military communications. And he also basically crafted a profile. They turned him into a Major William Martin. They even gave him an engagement ring, a receipt for the ring, and a picture of his girlfriend. And they created an identity so brilliant that what they did was they basically dumped him off the coast in Italy or southern Spain. The Germans found him. They found his dead body, and they found the plans. And apparently, the plans were about. They were discussing an invasion of Greece.
So somebody had a big. Oh, God.
And so what ended up happening was that the Germans found it, and they moved all their forces to Greece, while the British military invaded Italy.
So wait. What is this?
The plan was it was a diversionary tactic. They basically crafted
So
an
is this in a
identity.
movie?
No, this isn't a movie. This actually happened.
When?
Operation Mincemeat is real. It happened during the Second World War.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the idea was to basically leak false information to the Germans, and to convince them that the Allies were going to invade Europe by Greece.
That's impressive.
Instead,
That's very impressive.
Exactly. So, but the Germans bought it. They relocated all their military to Greece, and then when that was done, the British invaded Italy.
Wow.
I know, it's absolutely astounding. Okay, so
That's a Trojan horse if I ever thought of one.
Indeed it was. Okay, so I'm going to see if there's anything in gaming news. Okay,
Gaming news. I like this.
Yeah, Kotaku. Like I said, when Formula 1 ends, we're really going to have to start planning these things out better.
Oh, of course. I mean, well, that's all we'll have to talk about.
Yeah.
So there's not going to be a new Metro game.
Oh, there isn't going to be a new Metro.
Yeah.
So they shot down the rumors that there was?
Apparently, yes.
Yep.
I just saw that as a flashback, I just saw it as I was scrolling through.
Yeah.
Also, there's a sale on, I think, Overwatch right now.
Oh, heaven, yeah. Yeah,
I'd like to get into that. I just don't feel like spending the money on it right now.
I don't know. I just don't get the appeal
Well,
personally of esports.
I like being able to sit down on my couch after some classes, after I got some work done, and just being like, yeah, I'm going to pick up my controller hooked up right to my computer, sit down on a couch, and play it on my TV. I think that's relaxing.
Okay. Oh, here's something interesting. Now, a video game called Tyranny has just came out this week. The article from Kotaku, written by Jason Schreller. Tomorrow, the development studio Obsidian will release Tyranny, a video game about a grand war between good and evil, in which the forces of evil, led by an iron-fisted fascist named Kairos, the Overlord, has achieved victory. Obsidian describes Tyranny as a game that challenges players to find their place in an original fantasy realm where evil has conquered the known world. The slogan of Tyranny's marketing campaign is, "Sometimes evil wins. Make of that what you will.
Well, also, I was trying to look into it. I know our friend of ours, Adam Destin. I believe he made a video game, didn't he?
I actually wrote an article.
Did you write that article? Because I saw him share.
I wrote the article for the Minstrel on that one. I wrote that article.
Oh, look at this. Somebody is logged in on Facebook here.
Okay, who is it?
Connor.
Okay, Connor. Oh, wait.
Who's Connor?
Connor. Oh, no, it's, well, first of all, it's Connor Hayden, I bet.
Oh, probably.
Wait. Oh, my God, it is.
Let's log out of this.
No. Instead, type in, sorry to interrupt, you haven't changed.
Let's
Skip.
not mess with this stuff.
No, we're gonna, oh, fine, we will log him out,
Let's
and we
log
will
him
write
out.
him up in the Gripes book.
Do
but,
that.
But let it be, oh, wait, hang on. Oh, no, I don't know. I do not know Connor Flagenberg.
Was that Connor Flagenberg? Oh, yeah. No, Connor Flagenberg Hayden. That's
Oh,
his
okay.
middle name.
Okay.
No, it's Flargenblarg. Flargenblarg.
Okay.
You don't know Colin Flargenblarg?
I know.
Connor Flargenblarg?
I know of him. He booted me off on natural selection.
Flargenblarg.
Don't do that. You don't want to get sued by him. But either way, Connor. Oh, Connor, you're out there. You left yourself logged into Facebook. You're getting written up into the Gripes book. Just so you know, we've logged you out. Don't do it again, or we will post something rude in your name.
I convinced him not to post anything.
All right.
You're welcome.
Yes. So that is done. Ladies and gentlemen, let that be a lesson. If you are on a public computer, always log out.
Especially when shared by many other people.
Exactly. So, all right, so we are now 47. Is there anything else happening in the world?
Definitely something. All I can think of right now is, we do have some possible news. I'm not sure if this is going to happen or not, but my aunt did offer me her car.
Oh.
So there's
What you got?
some nice luxury wheels, let me tell you.
What is it?
It's either 2003 or 2004, she forgets.
But what is it?
It is a Ford Taurus.
Ford Taurus, interesting.
Ford Taurus, but it's the maxed out SEL Sports Edition Limited
Interesting.
with a sunroof that I believe doesn't know how to work. It's got a trunk and a hood and four doors.
Yeah. Well, there is some good news. Apparently, Iraqi forces have entered Mosul, so that's some good sign, I guess.
I don't know what that means.
It means we might push ISIS back a little bit.
Hopefully.
Yep, and yeah, I really don't know what else there is.
I could keep searching, but do you think we're good for the day?
Yeah, I guess so.
I think so. Well, anybody listening, I hope you had a wonderful show with
All
us.
right, ladies and gentlemen, and as a reminder, we will be here in the studio at 11 o'clock Saturday for Sao Paulo qualifying and race day on Sunday at 10:30 for the Sao Paulo race day. So, hit it there. Hit it there.
I'm going to put on some Fall Out Boy. I hope everybody's about to enjoy this. And for
right.
all of our listeners, please have a wonderful night. Be safe and do not do anything dangerous ever because that's not good for you. Have a wonderful night, guys.